Hi, true crime fans. It's me, Patty Lee. This is the True Crime Grapevine. And I'm Patty Lee. Yes, so welcome to the True Crime Grapevine. This is our episode 35. It is covering November 4th through the 11th of 2022. If you're new here, we like to have a drink. We had a sober October, but in November we went back to pairing a drink with every episode. I love a good Riesling. It goes with turkey, so I feel like it goes with the month of November nicely. And this is Relax. Love a product that tells you exactly what it does. So our unofficial sponsor for this episode is Relax Riesling. You should, especially if you're watching true crime. What do we do here? Well, I'm your armchair dyslexic detective. Say that 3 times quick. And what I do is all week I watch all the YouTubers that I feel are my main squeeze, main sources, and I then also go into articles written by local reporters, and I even read what Big E, Eric, puts up on, he's the docket. If Twitter stays Twitter, you can find him at Chasing Paper 89. He provides the download for all the actual indictments and filings by the court. Usually that's where I get them. Raise a glass to, there's a lot of crime that happened last week. I will go through it with you. We will go through, we have new cases. We have 2 weird cases. We have what the Daily Mail calls infertile womb raiders. Like, I guess, Tomb Raiders they're playing off of, which I don't know if you should do that if it's about crime. I'm supposed to go, but very thirsty. Then we have another new one about a mom and her parents who are part of a religious group out in California. I know, right? Religious group. Do you want to guess where we're going with this? Yes, the death of a child. And then our 3rd and 4th cases have to do with open investigations. One is the Delphi case, and the other one, these are investigations with at least 1 arrest. So we have the Delphi case, and to talk about that arrest, and then we have Mariah Wilson. She was the cyclist who was unalived in Austin, Texas, and we have an update on the alleged killer. And then we have our 5th and 6th cases. Our Gabby Petito, we have an update on what her parents are doing. We'll talk about the ways in which the law works. Sometimes you have to do things you might not otherwise want to do to help other people. You have to make legal arguments to change the laws. So it looks aggressive, but we'll talk about that. So Gabby Petito's parents are doing, they're working to help people by suing the Moab police. We'll talk about why. And our OnlyFans model / murderer. You be the judge. I know I'm judging, and I will tell you all about it. I'll tell you the facts, the theories, and then my opinions. Then we have the 7th case. We're going to be talking about Murtaugh down in South Cackalack, down in the Low Country. His co-conspirator in the financial crimes, Russell Lafitte. In trial right now, and boy, we're learning some things about Alex's case, like tangentially, but stick around. And then we have the Valid Day Bell, Groundhog Day, same old, same old. I mean, we've seen it before. Sorry, I'm gonna unpack my case here. See, who doesn't like a good literal pun? Unpacking from a case and cases. Got it? Yes, and then. And then there's just a slight update on the Pike County Massacre George Wagner thing that's going on here in Ohio. And one thing that is not a joke, and I'm going to need a drink for this one. Who's back? Who did we think we got rid of? Who do we really not want to hear from? Nancy Grace's top mom killer. Yeah. Casey Anthony. Can't believe we're going to be talking about her. Wasn't she gone? Go away, Casey. A little slight, you can't get, what did we say? Like cold sore and all the work's done, she pops up. You'd like her to be gone. All right, so those are our cases for this week. We're going to get into it with our first group. We're going to do it by groups for my editor this week, which are the new cases. All right, we have, let's take a drink for, oh my gosh, the infertile womb raider. What is an infertile womb raider? Oh, you've heard about them. There's been, there was a Hallmark movie starring, it was in the, oh, it's coming to me. It's just bubbling up. It's really late, you guys. I'm doing this late on November 11th. Veterans Day. Thank you to all of your veterans, our veterans, for serving, and thanks everybody for voting. What are those mysteries called? The something mysteries. Aurora. Tea Garden mysteries. You might get it. Just had to let it all bubble up. Okay, so they even had a pretend... like it was a fictionalized version of this infertile womb raider. So what it is, I guess, is an infertile woman, a woman who can't have children, who wants children. They make friends with a pregnant woman, allure them, and then unalive them and take their baby. Sometimes the babies make it. In one case, a recent case, one made it, but in two of these cases that we're talking about today, neither the mother nor the baby did. You can't just go around cutting babies out of people. You think, oh, the baby's just going to be fine. That is not the way. You cannot really do that. Babies born even a few weeks early need special care, and during the delivery, a lot of things can happen. And if you unalive a mother, you're basically unaliving that baby. You think that you're going to get the baby out quick enough. It's like drowning. The baby is no longer getting oxygen if the mother is no longer alive. So for anybody out there who might be getting thoughts, don't. There is no way that you have time to unalive somebody and take their baby. Ain't gonna happen. You've got 3 minutes before you're done. Like in water or anything where you get zero air, same for a baby. They're attached to the mom. You cut off the mom, you might as well you're not getting that baby. Even if you get it out, it's going to take you more than 3 minutes to do. Even if you could do a C-section, you're not going to do it in time. And that was the case. So what happened? We found out there had been a missing pregnant woman she was from Arkansas. She was reported missing. She was a pregnant mother of, I think she had 3 at home. And she was looking for a job. Her husband had hurt his back. Pandemic woes. Still, hard to get a job. And obviously, she's got lots of kids. She was looking, and she sort of was in mom groups asking for people. Basically, a few hours. She wanted something to do a few hours here or there. Light work. Because she was, she was on bed rest. The lady was trying to get something going that she could do at home. And, of course, when you advertise, especially just out into the interweb, and you don't know who you're really talking to, she was getting messages from Lucy. And Lucy, is it Barlow? I think it was Lucy Barlow. It doesn't matter because it was a fictitious name. But investigators had to comb through her social media. They found this Lucy Barlow. Then they had to backtrack and look at IP addresses. And by that time, as they're searching for her missing and her husband's freaked out, he's like, she met somebody online, talked to them about a few hours job, went for a job interview, and we haven't seen her. And so I think that was last Sunday. Look, they find a baby being brought to emergency to a hospital, and the people have a strange story. Like, she's claiming it's their baby, but she doesn't appear to have given birth. And she's also, not that she looked that older, but the police staff, the hospital staff realized right away something's going on. Anyways, and the baby passed away. They brought the baby in because the baby wasn't breathing. So when we first heard from, there's a press conference, I believe it was Monday, and it was in Missouri over the state line, and where they said they found the mother, they found her remains, and then they also found the baby passed away, they said. And later on, as the story unfolded this week, we found out that the two people who actually posed as Lucy, it was a woman named Amber Waterman, and she and her husband Jamie, he was in on it. They wanted a baby. They were infertile womb raiders. What a name, right? Again, I'm gonna need a drink. And they concocted this plan. They, I believe she was bludgeoned and shot. It is unclear if they forced her to give birth or if they did something to get the baby, but the baby did not do well. The baby was, a baby is born at, if you don't know, a baby is born at 40 weeks. That's full term. So you really don't want this. She was, I believe, at 35 weeks. And that's still weeks early. And that means complications. And again, like I said, I don't know, but I suspect they may have unalived the mom first. Not a good idea. Of course, most people aren't, they're not ICU doctors and nurses or neonatal ICU doctors and nurses or obstetrics doctors and nurses. So they were located. They are being charged. This is just happening all this week. So they are both in jail. They're both booked in Missouri. The Arkansas police, because she was missing from Arkansas, they don't know if the couple will be charged with the murder of just the mom or the mom and the baby. It depends on how the state. But the baby did make it to the hospital. It was in distress and died. So the baby was born alive. Ergo, they hastened the baby's. That if not murder, it would be what do you call it? It would be like second degree manslaughter. I mean, maybe they didn't mean to, but they were the cause of that baby's death because it was a premature birth. So we will be following what happens with that case, and if there's a trial or if they just plead, we will see. So as I was looking, and Iked was the one who covered that. That's Iked. He is on all the time. He goes live and talks. It actually shows a lot of extraneous and does commentary on true crime, press releases, like other coverage. It's really interesting to watch. Highly recommend Mel. Love him. He also does chases, and there was a crazy chase in California, which sounds weird, right? True crime and chase. I think I'm going to do a little focus on my primary sources, give you a little squeeze, little juicy juice extras on who to follow and why. And I love Mel. He would definitely be one of my highlights. Anyways, so he was the one who was the one talking about this case of Ashley Bush from Arkansas, and the perpetrators are Amber and James Waterman. All right. So then I remembered, hey, this not only reminds me of Aurora Tea Garden, like the pretend thing, but that was like a rip from the headlines. I think also Law and Order had a case like that. But why? There was a real case, and it was in Missouri. I think it was 2011. There was another similar case, and that time the baby did live, but it was the same thing. Instead of like a job interview though, and just an abduction, the woman had made friends with this other woman for months, and she acted like she also was having a baby, and instead she abducted the mom, and when the mom gave birth, she took the baby and the mom. So Today, or yesterday actually, there was a death sentence for you guessed it, we never heard this. This was not on the interwebs. I had not heard of this case. It was just linked when I was looking up the details about the Arkansas, Missouri mom. This other case came up, and this woman, she had 2 children, so she wasn't like infertile, but she had a hysterectomy. Well, she wasn't fertile. She had a hysterectomy, so she had 2 kids, and apparently the police are saying, the police said, and the prosecutor's theory, which the jury, both the one that convicted her in October after just an hour, and then now this was the death sentence phase of her sentencing. This is in Broward County, Texas, about 150 miles east of Dallas. This woman was convicted by 6 men and 6 women in less than 2 hours. They did sentence her to the Big D. And in Texas, that can actually happen. So don't, you know how they say don't mess with Texas? Don't mess around in Texas either. You don't want to. They are gonna get you. So this woman in October 2020, her name is Taylor Renee Parker. She made friends. She was pretending to be pregnant. She wore a belly. She had a gender reveal party because by that time she had picked out, whatever, but she had been pregnant for 10 months. Now, 40 weeks, you figure that out. Not quite 10 months, but I guess she was overdue. Overdue in the, noggin for some logic and ethics. She was 29, and she unfortunately found a young mom who was 21. Her name was Reagan Michelle, but she went by Michelle. Oh, I'm sorry. I think that was the other woman. Sorry. What? Is this the one who was 21? I'm asking you. You're like, hey, lady, you're telling us the story. Sorry. The True Crime Grapevine. It's a grapevine. Sometimes when you hear things, you know how you mix it up as it goes through the grapevine. But I did write this down. I believe the mom was 21, and she had a 3-year-old daughter. The woman had made friends with her, Michelle. I think she was just over at her house, and she was just with the 3-year-old at the time. The woman, Taylor, who was 29, she had gone on the internet and looked up how to do a rough C-section. So she had a scalpel with her. And apparently, though, again, and the baby did not make it. And here's why I think the baby didn't make it, because she's a freaking idiot. Number one, she bludgeoned her 5 times with a hammer to the head. So she probably killed her right there. And at that point, again, you've got 3 minutes. And no, don't worry about that though. She knifed her, stabbed her 100+ times. Lady, have you heard of overkill? Now the 3-year-old is in the house. Then it was very graphic. They said, and all I can tell you is, if you think of a slit throat, only at your hip to hip, and then rip. No, the baby probably didn't make it because she had already compromised the baby's oxygen by stopping the baby's source of oxygen. After 5 bludgeons to the head, really, then you needed 100 stabs. It seems like she was probably angry at that lady for having kids. I don't know, a criminal psychologist would have to tell you this, but the whole thing is crazy. And yeah, she's gonna take the big injection or electrocution or something for that. Yeah, unbelievable. Oh, and she left the mom then in that state with a 3-year-old. And I will tell you, memories start between 2 and 3, and they're typically, we call them flashbulb memories. Oh, if you don't know, I'm ABD, which is all about dissertation in educational psychology, which is about typical human development, cognition, and motivation. Now, this lady's motivations, I can she's got some ego issues, I can tell you that. But leaving a 3-year-old with that kind of horrific scene, that child will, you remember things that are either some very strong emotions and a flashbulb memories. If you think back to your earliest memories, they're like pictures, and they're usually you were scared, or you were super happy, or you were mad, some big emotion. It doesn't have to be bad. But this child's first memories, holy moly. Maybe her brain will block them out. All right, so what can we learn from this? So if you've been here before, I always like to end this not just with our sad tales of woe and our sort of salacious looking at crime from afar, but what could we learn? When you are in your 3rd trimester, you don't go anywhere with anyone. If you make friends with other pregnant ladies, make sure you look at their bellies. Compare belly buttons. Really look at their belly. Make sure it's real. And I'm not joking. People are nuts these days. If you are pregnant, you must be very careful your last trimester because you are very vulnerable. And apparently, the crazies are out. So, take care of yourself. Don't meet people from the internet ever, whether pregnant or not, okay? Always take somebody. If you're going for a job interview, you take, what do we call them? True Crime Grapevine fans? That's right, you take a witness. You take a buddy. It's just like kindergarten. We don't go anywhere with strangers alone when we're vulnerable, like at night, or we don't meet people in the park. All right, that was our second new case. All right, we're gonna, I hope this lasts through all my, maybe I shouldn't pour such a big glass every time, right? I'm very thirsty. This is why I'm not a drinker, because I drink it like it's water. All right, guys. We are going to do our next case, which is another new case. Sorry, that was cases there. Our second new case is Letitia. This was the one I told you about, which was another like religious, I don't know what I want to say. These were leaders in a church. It was called the Rock Church in San Diego. And Letitia McCormic, who is 49, she and her husband Brian adopted this little girl Arrabella when she just was 11. And then there's a 6 and a 7-year-old sibling as well. I don't know if they were adopted. And Letitia's parents were also part of the church. Stanley Tom and Adela Tom, 75 and 70. Letitia was ordained in this church. She was part of the church leader in this Rock Church in San Diego. And an interesting little fact that the USA Today threw in is that it was founded by and led by former NFL player Miles McPherson. I don't know. I'm not really a football gal, fan. My fanship lies in true crime, all things true crime, and then, knitting and psychology. So poor Miles must not be feeling too great. So they are all in jail as of Monday, charged with, everybody except the grandmother is charged with murder. The grandmother, and then she is not charged with murder, but then all three are charged with 3 counts of torture, 3 counts of cruelty to a child, and the death that contributed to the death of the child. But only the mother, Letitia, and the grandfather, Stanley Tom, were actually charged with the murder. I believe Brian would have been. So the deputies went to find him, and as soon as they showed up, Brian took the coward's way out. funny how you can starve a kid and torture them, but when the police come knocking at your door, you're just going to bail? Brian. Yes, so instead of 4, we have 3. What in the world would make religious people, I don't know, she showed up to the hospital battered, like bruised everywhere, horribly malnourished, underweight. What is wrong with people? Why, and this child was adopted. They fostered her and adopted her. I don't know if they started treating her like this, but I am just going to guess there's a religious component to, like, we're going to find out, guarantee you, that, well, she had demonic possession, you know, like a zombie. Who are we thinking of, folks, right? Or, like, had dragon's blood DNA. That was also in San Diego. Do you remember Matthew Coleman? So we have the Valos, Matthew Coleman. Remember last week we talked about the little baby boy who was unnamed, Angel, and we found out his name was Cairo, and the little boy who was in the Vegas suitcase that was found in Indiana, and his mom was from Hotlanta, but I don't think she's been caught. But what is up with these people thinking children are demons and zombies and what? If you think God is telling you your child is like a demon, no. What can we learn from this? God doesn't turn children into demons and zombies. You, if you think so, are losing your marbles and you need to go see a doctor and give your children to somebody else. If you think your child's a demon and you're listening to me right now, listen. Give them to someone else. That is the answer. We don't starve, we don't torture, and we don't put them in our boyfriends' yards, in pet cemeteries. No, we don't. You know, I love a good, I mean, I'm pretty white, as you can see. I love a good regular church ceremony. Not that I have anything really against, look. There's something going on with something that is making these people all freak out and think people are demons and zombies and possessed. I don't know. I'd like to do some research maybe on that. Mike King talks about cults and cult behavior, and often children are hurt in cults. That's a big part of cult behavior. So, you know, religion versus cult, how do you know? I don't know. Maybe when you start thinking about, you know, starving children. I don't know. All right, so that ends our new case segment. Hold on one second, and we'll be right back with our second segment